I think what I like about these is it's not about having an answer. It's about just getting into your body and just notice how you're feeling. And then like taking a moment to get present, because that is where we can actually make true be it till you see it moments in our life, is when we're not trying to respond from trauma.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the relieving convo I had with Lauren Zoeller in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that one, you should listen to it. Then you should listen to this one, or you can listen to this one, and that one, and then listen to the one I was on hers, because Brad and I are both on hers. So you can just hear Lauren and Brad and my voices in your ear all day today.
It's true.
And you should. Lauren was first on the pod in episode 131 and 132. Holy moly. That's like 160 episodes later. Well,
it's been a minute.
Okay, so we'll get into Lauren and her awesomeness, and my ladies who want to learn more about your relationships and like how you feel the way you feel. That's what we're talking about. So stick around. But today is July 4th, 2024, and it's the 4th of July. Thank you, Brad. Thank you for writing it out one way.
July 4th is the 4th of July.
And it's the 4th of July. It's totally only applicable to Americans, and, you know, sometimes it feels like a not great holiday anymore, but don't worry, we're positive around here. We're really excited. But it's one of the biggest national holidays. Americans come together on July 4th to celebrate the nation's birthday and Independence Day. On this day, most Americans enjoy grills in their backyard, at beaches, or in parks. Some partake in parades or marches and enjoy the fireworks that are often launched at dusk. We kick off the festivities with details, trivia, and anything else you need to know about Independence Day. Happy 4th. This website that we get all of the descriptions of the holidays, this is the most bland description of what happens on the 4th. If you live in our neighborhood, everyone does their own fireworks situation. It is chaos, and our dogs are really chill. Our dogs do not mind. So we're at the pool today, just so you know. We are at the pool with some of our podcasting friends, actually. Yeah. So some of the people who've been on the show, Netta, Michael, a couple others are all there. So we're just, hanging out on the 4th.
Taking a holiday.
And, but other things are coming up that you need to know about. Is summer tour is 1 month away. We kick it off on August 4th. What? And most of the cities, many of the cities, workouts are sold out. The workshops are getting close. So you want to go to opc.me/tour.
opc.me/tour.
To snag your spot. And also spots. If you want to come to 2 cities, some people are doing that. I can't wait to see them. It's called the Groupies. It's the groupie roll. And also, our tour is powered by Balanced Body, which means we'll be bringing our Contrology Reformer. You can try that out.
It's true.
You could win a gift certificate to Balanced Body and Contrology. And by the way, you can still use my affiliate link when you use that gift certificate.
That's true.
Just saying, you might want to win that. The Elevate applications are going to open up in literally 4 days. And so if you're listening to this in real time, get your booty over to that wait list if you're wanting to find out more information. It's lesleylogan.co/elevate. And I spell my name Lesley because that's the way you actually spell Lesley. And to the Lesleys with the IE out there, you're fine too. It's just how you
Elevate is a 9-month-long mentorship program for Pilates teachers who want to really dig in more classical Pilates and connect all the dots across all the different pieces of equipment, stop class planning, all the things.
Yeah, it's really amazing. Our 4th round is actually just finished their 4th out of 5 weekends. And it's just so cool to see how much they have changed in their teaching and their practice and how they're understanding exercises. It's just really beautiful to see their growth. We'll have a week for you to apply, and we are only taking 12 people in a group. So, get on the wait list and be quick on the application. Cambodia retreat, October is super sold out, but February has spots in it, and there's some amazing women already signed up. They're already getting excited. We have some great people. I just can't even wait for that February one as well. So that's crowsnestretreats.com.
Yeah. And lastly, we got OPC. We want you to try out OPC. We got a special offer just for you. This is the best offer that you're going to get anywhere. 40 days for $40.
Mm-hmm.
It's $1 a day, y'all. Go to opc.me/40, 40, opc.me/40.
40. And you get to come into our community. You get to meet our crew.
Yeah.
You get to, in 40 days, you'll have been able to try out 2 different monthly themes. You'll be able to try out more than like 5 weeks of weekly themes. You can get your feedback on your form, and you can come to a live class. You get to experience the true OPC membership in those 40 days. It's $1 a day. We just found out like that's cheaper than a lemon, just so you know. It's cheaper than if you bought a lemon for every day, it's cheaper than that.
How about that? Before we actually get into it with Lauren, we had a question today from Jaravia from YouTube. Thanks for asking, Jaravia. What is the most beneficial reformer for core strength development? Should I get a basic one, a tower, or a Cadillac?
Yeah.
Take it away, Lesley.
So ideally, you don't buy a reformer combined with anything. In the most perfect sense of the world, you would have a reformer and you would have a Cadillac. And that would be like my dream for you. Okay. And it'd be a Contrology, ideally an 80-inch. Just saying. use our discount link. But if you are looking for a combo equipment, then I would do the reformer tower from Contrology. I do not like a reformer combined with a Cadillac.
How come?
They are too high. So the reformer is actually much higher off of the ground. So it's a little scarier. You cannot mount. You cannot do a lot of the setups for the exercise the same way that you would. The bars are in the way. So you go to do coordination and your legs are like opening up into bars. You're constantly having to get your head through these bars. So I don't love that. So if you're going to do a combo, I would do a tower reformer combo, not a Cadillac reformer combo. If you're asking, like, should I get the tower or the Cadillac? I'm going to say Cadillac if you have the space, because honestly, it's the best. But if you don't, or if price is a thing, then a wall unit is really amazing. Super, super great. Contrology will have a wall unit out pretty soon. That's my vote for you.
There you go. I love it. Well, if you have a question for us, you can ask it through DMs on Instagram, or you can text us at 310-905-5534. Stick around. We'll be right back. Okay, now let's talk about Lauren Zoeller, speaker, author, host of the Aligned Love podcast, and founder of the Aligned Love Experience. Lauren is a somatic and relationship expert who emphasizes understanding the body's responses to trauma. She advocates for recognizing these responses and encourages individuals to learn the language of their nervous system to break free from unhealthy patterns and find healthy relationships.
Yeah. And she does relationships, not just with love, but like at work, with your work, with money. We have lots of relations in our life, and how you treat one is how you treat a lot of them. So she kind of works with a lot of those things. I love a lot of the things that she said. And we're going to get into some other really, really good ones because you like those ones that I like too. To explain somatics, I think, is the best way to go into this podcast. It's like, somatics is the language of the nervous system. And so it's like how your nervous system is sharing how it feels about things. And sometimes we can't articulate how we're feeling. We just don't feel right. And that's going to be what somatics is, the language of your nervous system. And it's a language that a lot of us were never taught to speak. A lot of us were not taught to feel our feelings, or like I was told, like, children should be seen, not heard. So you'd be like sniffling, crying. It's like, hey, suck it up. But once you know the language of your nervous system, she said, you can shift the way you relate to anything in your life. And so she's worked with a lot of leaders, mostly women. She's been able to like really help them express their frustration. So it's just really cool to see how somatics can work, because especially if you've done a lot of talk therapy, you've done a lot of like, life coaching, and like things haven't changed and you're just in the same cycle. It sounds like what you need is somatic, so you can actually understand your nervous system, what it's trying to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. So the language of the nervous system, and I think it's good to understand that when she was talking about it, just sounded like, oh, I don't know what, it just sounds like therapy, right? But the thing that I liked where she was talking about somatics is it's like the sum of it all is what it is, right? So there are different forms of therapy, and somatics incorporates all the different parts. So she wasn't knocking talk therapy. She said that's one piece of it, but it's only like 20% of it, and so there's more to it. And that's what I thought was really intriguing, that there's a bigger system.
And also, like, to truly do what she does, it's like 8 years like it's many, many years of training. This is not like you do this in a weekend, you guys. So like
I got certified.
So be mindful when like working and looking at people who are doing somatics, because it's becoming a hot thing right now. It's like, I do somatics, and it's like, it's not just your breathwork person who did a weekend course. Like you really want to find someone who is truly aligned, because when you are doing somatic work, their shit can be like, it's important. So I really appreciate how much training and setting she constantly does, and how much she's done it already.
Yeah. And Lauren also has a team of coaches, and they're all certified. So, yep. That's pretty awesome. Well, she also dug into this idea of being stuck forever in the therapy or the coaching. And she said it's actually unhealthy. She said that there's got to be a point where we are at a place where we can manage it ourselves without still being in the program or still having a coach, or, and I can't remember if it was you or her mentioned, imagine going to college and never being allowed to graduate. Like that, there's no logic to that. The way, you start it, you take it, you pass, and then you leave. You know
where I heard that? I heard it from a cult podcast that I listened to.
That was you.
because they were like, you get into a course program, and then if they continue to have more and more courses that you need to buy to get closer and closer to God or the source or the leader or whatever it is, then that's not healthy. That's a cult.
Yeah, totally. Well, and she kind of laughed when she said it, like, this is probably bad for my business to say that there's a place where you should be able to move on, because, but I think it's true, and she started to talk about codependency and how people get stuck in the rut of the therapy or the meetings. There's actually something called Codependence Anonymous, or obviously we've all heard of Alcoholics Anonymous, or all these other things. Or maybe it is just the talk therapy, or maybe it's a codependency in relationships with someone that you're with, right? And she started to talk about how, especially in the coaching world, we've kind of built into our programs the idea that people should stick around forever, right? Stay with me forever. And she said we've been building really deep codependencies. I mean, if we're doing it that way, then we as coaches aren't necessarily doing our jobs well.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also, before we get into her beit action items, I just want to say, like, we also did a whole talk about the responses, which is like the fight, flight, fright, and fawn.
Yeah, that was a new one for me.
Yes, and fawn is something a lot of women end up doing. It's a very people pleasing, like, let me fix this thing, and I highly encourage you to go listen to that whole segment on the pod, because the way she explains it is really amazing. And when you start to learn how your response is, it really helps you again learn the language of your nervous system. Oh, I'm fawning right now.
Yeah.
It's a little like, hello.
That one was a new one for me. I knew about, obviously we've all heard of fight or flight. Freeze makes sense. And then fawn was new. And I think we talked about that a few weeks ago, actually, on the pod.
Yeah.
But awesome. Okay, stick around. All right, so finally, let's talk about those beit action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your conversation with Lauren Zoeller? Well, we were talking about learning the language of the nervous system, or actually that somatics is the language of the nervous system. So how do we learn that language? And she had a very methodical approach to learning this language. And she said, set a timer. You're going to do a somatic check-in. She said, like, every 3 hours, do it for a week, right? And she said, what you're going to do is pull out a pen and paper. You're going to document the sensations and emotions that you're feeling at the time that it goes off, right? So open your phone's notes app, write the sensations and emotions that are present in your body, and then document what you were doing when it went off. She said, avoid rationalizing. This is important. She specifically did not say for you to explain why you're feeling those emotions or sensations, just that you are. Write them down. And then focus solely on documenting what sensations, what emotions were present, and what you were doing at the moment. That's it. That's all. Right? And she said what this does is, after a week, it allows you to understand where your nervous system is on a moment-to-moment basis. So if you're maybe you're commuting, right? Or maybe you're working, or maybe you're at lunch, or maybe you're with the family, or maybe you're cooking dinner, or maybe whatever. And if you're doing this on a consistent schedule throughout the week, you can start to see, how come every time I'm at work, I'm, sweating, I'm like freaking out, or I'm like feeling it in my chest or whatever. Start to identify those things. And then you're going to be equipping yourself with different type of language around, and a different perspective around how you're doing what you're doing. And that will lead to why you're doing it that way.
Mm-hmm.
She has some resources available, to help dig into this a little bit more. So we'll be putting that in the show notes. What about you? What was your biggest takeaway?
She brought up discuss trauma as an urgency, which is a fight and action response. So if you are trying to have instant gratification, or you're wanting things to happen overnight success, it actually can lead to further trauma. So I know I'm someone who Lauren and I are very similar. We just spent a week together, and we like to know the answer now, right now. Let's just know that now. It's almost, I feel better if we've made a decision, which is instant gratification. That can just be a trauma response. And so she said, the things that are meant to be savored in life and make your life robust are the ones where you actually slow down. And so she said, where you're able to build a space, build it from a space of true presence and being grounded. So if you are trying to make decisions from an instant spot, take action kind of a thing, it can actually.
She said it's a trauma response.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's your nervous system telling you I'm activated right now. And so part of how you relate to things, let me just do this right now. But she's really trying to get you to based on the other beit action. I'm take a moment and just notice how you're feeling, and not make a reason, which is very hard for people to do. When we had Dr. Bender on, and she said, try not to reason with how you're feeling. Just notice how you're feeling, because we're often wrong. But what she then said is so when you're feeling an urgent need for immediate results or instant gratification, recognize it's a trauma response. And then in order to break the pattern, slow down and focus on being present, which is really hard to do.
It's hard.
It's really hard to do. So I just want to shout in, Jenny Schatzel had a breathing exercise that we had in another beit action item just a few weeks ago. Maybe it was a month ago at this point. Her breathing, remember we did it together, it was just inhale. Exhale.
That's it.
That was it. That was her thing. So try that to get yourself present. So combine these two and I think what I like about these is it's not about having an answer. It's about just getting into your body and just notice how you're feeling. And then taking a moment to get present, because that is where we can actually make true be it till you see it moments in our life, is when we're not trying to respond from trauma.
Yeah. If you want to go back to that episode with Jenny, it's episode 376.
Yeah. So, Lauren's right. If you haven't yet listened to her first episodes on the pod, I highly recommend going back to those, 131 and 132.
Yep.
And then if you want to hear about Brad and I and our Aligned Love on her podcast, you can do that on the Aligned Love podcast.
Yeah, we'll put the link to her pod in the show notes. You can find it wherever pods are found. The Aligned Love.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, it was super fun to have Lauren join us.
awesome.
First in person in Vegas, but also in person in Nashville when we recorded this. Yeah,
I think we spent more days with her this in a week than we have seen her ever in life. So
maybe.
Yeah, but she's fabulous. She's family, and so I'm just really grateful that she does what she does, because a lot of people need it, and she's changing lives out there. So I'm Lesley Logan,
and I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. You are amazing. In case you didn't remember, in case someone told you that, you are incredible and awesome, and we're so grateful for you. And if you haven't left a review for this podcast, please do it. That would be a really great gift to me. It's also a great way for you to be present. You get to take note of what you learned from this episode.
Yeah, be a great gift to me too.
Yeah, a great gift to Brad. Brad needs a gift. His birthday's coming up, everyone.
It's true.
Leave a review for his birthday.
It's this month.
Okay, it is. And then share this with a friend who needs it. If you got a friend who's as one of those people who's just acting out of trauma, sometimes you're oh, you can see it. Sometimes you can see it in others, we can see it in ourselves. Send this to them, because you don't have to tell them what to do. You can just let them learn about it on their own. And until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905 5534 or send a DM on Instagram at BeItPod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the Epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.